Thank you, Dushka, for the intro and for invitation. It's a pleasure, always. Thank you for all the speakers. Really nice to see you guys. I hope that we will have 40 minutes of really interesting discussion, positive and meaningful for the audience. But before this, let's warm up with a quick intro from all of you. Just brief information about who you are, what you do, and we'll take it from there.
Hi, thanks for IFX invitation to be here. Rafael Teruszkin. I work for Bitpanda. I'm in the Bitpanda Technology Solution. It's a division. We're selling the Bitpanda platform for companies, for banks, for fintechs. As the idea to leverage and enable them to be ready for the Web3 world.
Well, first of all, thank you to IFX for the invitation to be a speaker here. My name is Rodrigo Mojino, and I'm the co-founder and board member of an asset manager, Surround Wealth Management. And we manage, for the time being, 2 hedge funds. And in one of them, we do operate with crypto.
Hi, thank you so much for the invitation. My name is Alvaro. I'm from Bybit. I'm in the business development manager for LatAm region. Bybit is a crypto exchange. We're one of second, third biggest in the world in terms of trading volume. We focus mainly on derivatives trading, but we have a whole spot trading and so on, but focusing purely on crypto so far.
Hi. Hi, my name is Eloisa Cadenas. I am a Chief Innovation Officer at Monetáe Exchange, and I have 11 years in the crypto world. And Monetáe Exchange is a OTC desk and tokenization platform.
Hi everyone, I'm Itamar. I'm the COO of Inabit. Been a crypto advocate for about 11 years as well, somewhere around that. Our platform basically operates everything related to crypto. If the business operates on their day-to-day with crypto, we allow them to have a self-custody management platform for all of their assets and allowing all of the verticals of payments as well, where it's accepting crypto, receiving crypto, converting it to fiat directly to their bank account, mainly focusing on SMBs to enterprise solutions.
Thank you, guys. 10, 11, or maybe more years in the crypto sounds unbelievable. It's 2-3 decades in the normal world, you know. So really experienced guys here. And because we are obviously in LatAm, and for me, to be honest, it's my first time here. I'm really impressed how curious, how open, how positive are people here. And they're positive also not only about the FX world, but also about the crypto world. So tell me, based on your experience, all of you have a really good presence here. What exactly crypto is changing for the people here in LatAm in general? Maybe Bitpanda?
Okay, can try to start. So I think there are different perspectives on how people are the reason why people in LatAm are adopting crypto. So first reason I would say it's countries like Argentina and Venezuela is because hyperinflation. So using crypto they kind of protect themselves of the hyperinflation. Second reason I would say maybe savings, investment. So most of the countries in LatAm have a lot of fluctuation on their currency. So investing in crypto and stable coins protect them, protect their wealth on this fluctuation. And third reason would be maybe related to payments. So crypto is a very easy access for them to make international payments. So stable coins is being used each time more here in LatAm in order to access international markets.
Yeah, sounds really logical. Rodrigo, what about you? What do you think that there is something else on top? Because obviously all these points which Rafael mentioned, it's super logical. But what about the trading side of the things?
Well, from the trading side of the things, well, what crypto allows or gives the people, it's a more efficient and it's more open to people to enter into. For example, in difference with the traditional financial system, there's a lot of regulation that only certain people can enter into, also in the banking system, whilst crypto comes to give alternatives to people. So the only thing that you really need to enter the crypto market are two things: a phone and internet access. No, it's more, and as my colleague said, it's faster and it's more friendly user the crypto market.
Okay. Itamar, about the replacement of some of the activities, let's say, which we used to do with the normal banking system, the normal financial ecosystem, let's say, now with stable coins or with other crypto protocols. Can you give us some examples, some things which now we can, let's say, do faster, better?
Of course, I mean, take a look at remittances, for example, right? The ability to send funds cross-border. That's something that is, had a huge impact over crypto. The ability for, again, someone with a phone and an internet to be able to send funds somewhere around the world and somebody to accept it within minutes, that saves them, and if we're talking fees, saves them an incredible amount of fees and costs. It's very cost efficient. And then later on, he can be the one who converts that crypto to fiat, will save them a lot of intermediaries along the way. So it's not about just fees. It's how fast it is, how capable it is. We're talking about LatAm and the unbanked infrastructure here, right? It's solely lacking scalability. And that's something crypto enables to do very fast. I think the best way to focus on is, again, stable coins, because I think from a regulatory standpoint as well, that's something that's going to be a little bit more allowing. Everybody wants to be able to support something that the bank likes and adopts. And I think we're getting slowly
stable.
Exactly.
Right?
So you want to be something tagged to the dollar or the Mexican peso or anything like that. And I'm thinking that's where we're headed right now, and I'm very confident about it. But again, remittance is something that was, hardly possible, and nowadays everybody can do it using crypto.
Yeah, make a lot of sense. Alvaro, what about the countries here in the region which, let's say, are doing really well in this adoption? I mean, people from which country in LatAm are, let's say, the best example of how adopt crypto in general?
Yeah, I think following what Rafael said, of course, we know Argentina and Venezuela are the perfect examples where stable coins, USDT and USDC mainly, have become a heaven for USD.
To hedge themselves.
Yeah, hedging against inflation and so on. But I think other countries as well, like even Mexico, as Itamar is mentioning, remittance, Bitso, the local player here, is doing pretty well. I think according to the data, they're doing like 10% of the whole remittance from US to Mexico, which is pretty impressive. And like Itamar said, so yeah, I don't think it's only Argentina and Venezuela, which are the perfect examples. I think, and of course, we also know El Salvador with the Bitcoin, how also is not a stable coin, but again, people in the US consider the family members Bitcoin and receive pretty easily. And I know there's a lot of critics about the whole thing, but it has been enabled, again, remittance and so on. So for me, yeah, those examples are pretty good. And also talking again about the underbanked, going back to Venezuela, Argentina, where, for example, in Mexico, we have really good products. Anyone can easily invest in CETES and get really good, APRs. That doesn't happen in every LatAm country. And with crypto, you can do staking in most exchanges. You can have yield products, earn products, and that also democratize these attractive investments products that maybe they cannot get from their local traditional finance products. So I think a little bit of what Rafael mentioned and Itamar mentioned, but also adding this underbanked. So people who do have access to traditional banking, but they are,
They're not a big fan.
they're not a big fan. Yes,
We'll
They
get
have,
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Go for it.
Just add some maybe some example from Brazil. So in Brazil, Brazil is, I think, a huge market for crypto, maybe sixth in the world in terms of volumes. And it's been said that last year, 90% of the volumes in crypto were related to stablecoin. So that's huge. So that's the reason why there are already a few stablecoins being launched in Brazil. Mexico is the same case. Bitso has just launched Mexican peso pegged stablecoin, and the reason why behind all this idea about stablecoin on emerging markets is really to give to be a gateway for the population, maybe the unbanked, to have access to some sort of investments that are being tokenized that otherwise they wouldn't have access.
Yeah, make totally sense. Eloisa, for our in this panel, you have anything which you want to add here on this topic?
Yes, maybe I want to talk about the context, because I think the crypto exchanges is not the same thing in, for example, in Europe or in Latin America. I think the exchanges in Latin America, they have we need to have the focus in remittances, but maybe in Europe is not the same case, or Asia or other countries. Just so I think is very important. We need to study the context and the economies as well, because for example, Albert said, Venezuela or Argentina, they need a stable coins, and the stable coins are very, very useful for them. But maybe in London or other country in Europe, it's not the same thing, or United States, for example.
To be honest, they're getting there as well. So
Yeah, well, maybe, and just I want to say, is I think is very, very important. Study the use of cases, or I need to use the stable coins in other countries, but we don't. Just I want to say, we cannot use all crypto industry in all continents. I think we need to study some countries on some cases, like stable coins or investment or tokenization. I don't know.
okay, thank you for this. Now I have a question which we were discussing before the panel: CBDC vs stable coins. Who is going to share this information? Complementary, not competitive.
Well, if I may. The way that we need to look at the CBDCs and stablecoins, that they are actually complementary. There's no competition between them, because in its nature, they're not the same thing, right? So what the stablecoin comes to do, or its purpose, one of its purposes is to be a bridge between the fiat money and cryptocurrencies. How do they do that? It's because it's patched to fiat. So it's a bridge from the traditional system world to the crypto market. And and the CBDCs, it's mainly just digital fiat money. It's not per se a cryptocurrency. So in a way, it's what we need to understand is that the stablecoin was never meant to stay and to put aside the fiat money. It's the bridge for people to come into the crypto market. So and I would say that that's the how it complements stable coins with the CBDCs.
Okay, and can you deep a little bit about the CBDC? I mean, your opinion about the stable coins. It's clear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the CBDC, well, the digital currencies that the central banks emit, it's mainly it's just instead of having a physical dollar, for example, you have a digital. So it's really easy. It opens you to enter into the crypto market. I mean, it's not, like I said, it's not a matter of competing one with the other one.
Can I just add to what he said, there is a lot of confusion on the CBDC statements out there. So first of all, it's good to differentiate what's wholesale CBDC and retail CBDC. What causes most of the confusion is the retail CBDC, is the idea that the normal citizen would have a direct relationship with the central bank, which is as now most of the countries, at least here in LatAm, sees they are coming to a conclusion that this is complicated. So most of the way the CBDC in the central banks, the CBDC discussion is going to be a wholesale CBDC, which means it's nothing more than a clearing between the central bank and the regulated entities, the banks. So nothing of that touch the population, the citizen. Is just like replacing the standard ACH fiat platforms for a digital solution for making clearing digital assets between the central bank and regulated entities. And after that, what many central banks are discussing is that the banks themselves, they can offer for their clients what would be a form of stablecoins, which are the tokenized deposits. So instead of having a normal regular account, we would have same, but in a digital form. It would be a tokenized deposit, but the risk the relationship would be still between the client and his bank, not the client and the central bank. So in that sense, tokenized deposit or stablecoins are the same. The idea is that stablecoins in this way will make like a connection, a bridge between what is the CBDC, wholesale CBDC of each country, and maybe a more wide network interoperable within the countries, in the region, in the world. That's a bit of my view.
Do you think that because we're having obviously really big exchanges here in the panel, do you think that CBDC in different ways can replace or maybe can add additional value of all the exchanges in terms of helping increasing the volumes, more interest from the retail or maybe from the B2B side of the crypto participants on the exchanges?
I'm gonna add up to what you said earlier. When you said USDTs or stable coins rather are the bridge, essentially CBDCs will become the bridge as well. That's how I see it. It's just a bridging regulation and banking in
A
general.
lot of bridges here. Huh?
A lot of bridges, yeah. We're not an exchange ourselves, right? But without going through to what we do and anything like that, I believe that the relationships between exchanges, crypto exchanges, whether if they're obviously regulated or highly regulated, will be better along the way with the banks. The relationships with the banks will become better because when a bank has control, when we talk about CeFi instead of DeFi, right? When the bank has control over the currency, it makes it feel a little bit more secured and open towards adoption. That's where we're coming from. So I think crypto exchanges, I deposited earlier a few years back some funds to Binance, to Bybit, right? And the bank asked me some questions. What's going on? What are those deposits? Where is it coming from? Where is it going? The bank wants more clarity. Enabling deposits and transfers using a centralized digital bank currency will enable much more adoption and relaxation in a way to the banks.
Yeah, I see what you say, but I think in the end of the day, it's not the CBDC itself, but the regulation. So the country and maybe the central bank able regulation, making clear what an exchange can do, cannot do, what is a stable coin for the country. So the CBDC, of course, helps this discussion to go on. But in the end of the day, it's the regulation.
I agree with you. I mean, regulation doesn't come in one day, right? They need to start adopting some minor changes. So I think CBDCs, as you said, is another step forward to the regulation. That's what we're looking for.
So slowly, we are coming to the main point, let's say, my favorite topic, regulation. Yeah, because Dushka mentioned El Salvador, obviously really a country where crypto is like a national currency these days. What about the other countries in the region? What do you think about the regulatory frame in general in the next, I don't know, 1-2 years? What we are expecting, how we can operate in these markets? Please share your opinion about this, because in the FX world, the regulations is almost everything. Now in crypto, we can see Europe is MiCA. In Asia, there are some regulations, also in North America as well. Here, obviously, it's coming as well. So tell me about what's going on. Maybe in Brazil, it's one thing. In Mexico, it's another thing. Please share your opinion about this. Yeah.
Just I want add something about the CBDCs, because I hate the CBDCs. Really, really.
Retail or wholesale?
I'm sorry, but I don't like the CBDCs because the central bank digital currency need the monetary policies, and the stable coins, we don't need a regulation for example, monetary policy. Yeah. Yes, we need a stable coin regulation, some points, yeah, obviously, but it's not the same thing like CBDCs. So I think I think it's easy with CBDCs. It's very easy because just the people don't trust in the government. So I think that the CBDCs no works in the countries because the people don't have confidence in the.
Okay, yeah, it's a good point, by the way. Alvaro, while we are discussing obviously CBDCs and trying to push for the regulatory point of view, do you think that actually CBDCs are part of the regulation which is coming in, maybe not only in the region, but what do you think?
Yes, adding to I don't hate CBDCs.
You also hate or no?
No, I don't hate it. For me, they're complementary, like Rodrigo said. For me, CBDCs are focused on domestic payments, and stable coins, as we mentioned already, play a vital role in cross-border payments and so on. So for me, it's not fighting, but sort of again complementary. So yeah, definitely. I mean, now we're going to the regulatory part, and of course, it's going to be part of the regulation, and of course, it will be easier for that because again, it's from the central bank, which of course play a vital role in the regulations coming in. I'll speak more about Mexico, maybe.
Yes,
as you know, we have fintech law, which is a bit old now. That's the only thing we have in Mexico so far. I know local players are working on trying to get something, but yeah, they will play a vital part in that regulatory. But yeah, we're pretty outdated in that part. Just an example, the fintech law was launched in 2018. Bybit was founded in 2018. Binance in 2017. So these, I mean, biggest players in crypto world were, and of course, fintech law took years to develop. So it's not like, so crypto is not really there. There's some mentions about it, but more about taking care of, like the banks don't do anything related about crypto. So yeah, it will play a vital part, both stable coins, CBDCs, but yeah, we need to push it and hopefully, yeah, local players like Bitso, again, they're doing a lot. But just another example, even Bitso is not regulated in Mexico. Just the electronic payment part, just when I transfer Mexican pesos to Bitso is regulated by the subsidiary NVO. But once I buy crypto and so on, there's no regulation.
So the reason is because there is no regulation.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, Rodrigo, about your business and part of the things and the regulation, how do you see the things?
Yes, well, we in Surround Wealth Management, what we think is that in the regulation part, we have to differentiate between government regulation and self-regulation. how we see it is that, and it's in the nature of the crypto market, it's that it's a self-regulated market, such as the traditional market, actually. Right. So in the, for example, in the Act of the Securities and Exchanges of the United States, it clearly states that the market, stock market, it's self-regulatory. The exchanges are self-regulated operators, and we think that that's how mainly exchanges, for example, they should be. The ones that should regulate the market are the parties that come into play into the market. The government on the other side, what it should regulate, it's let's say the taxation system, how if it's going to be taxed or not, which I would say that it would only be taxed, for example, if you buy a house or if you buy a car. There are already all regulations of that, but it needs to be modified so it's more clear, right?
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And because at the end of the day, it's been like 17 years of the crypto market that since it started, and by self-regulation, it's up to date now. It's $2.3 trillion. So it works. So the government, it has to do with taxation, and also due to if there's a fraud or some or other felonies, so that the people could have a more approachable way to go to courts and have justice. But so we think that the regulation for crypto market, it's more self-regulated, right? For example, in exchanges, they could regulate more the rules, right? In normal exchanges, they have rules, or in Mexico, they're called the reglamento interno, the internal rule book, in which they set forth the rules, and they also have disciplinary committees. So it's by giving precedence, the market itself regulates. It works because it's in its essence, crypto is decentralized, and so again, it's not. It's again, the government should complement just in certain topics, not trying to over-regulate like they're doing in the normal market. That's why crypto was born, due to one of the reasons of the over-regulation of it, right?
Okay, and what about Brazil?
Yeah, I'll touch Brazil just before coming back to a point of stable coins. Each time stable coins are getting more
Not
regulated.
CBDCs anymore,
Not
right?
CBDCs. Each time the stable coins are being more regulated. So this idea of unregulated, it's each time more getting smaller, because in a way, at least you see the case of USDC being regulated on US and by MiCA. So in the end of the day, it will be an indirect regulation on stable coins. Governments will regulate the private companies issuing stable coins, and in a way, anyone that handles those stable coins will be under the surveillance. That's something I wanted to add. In case of Brazil, there is a lot of regulation coming for the crypto market, and one of the main ones is about the VASPs, mainly the exchanges, defining what is a VASP, what they can do, cannot do, and this I see in a very positive way, because even though the exchanges can do a lot in the market, not being regulated, there is still a lot of friction between them and the traditional markets, the banks. So once the regulation is coming, there will be much more comfort for interaction between the crypto natives and the traditional regulated entities. And so I think it's very good in that sense. Other regulation that is coming in Brazil is how those VASPs entities, they will play a role in the domestic market, and also on the FX market. And the third regulation that is coming out is related to stablecoins.
Okay, and while we are discussing, obviously, regulation is coming in the whole region, but at the same time, there is already a really well regulated country like El Salvador. You mentioned that in Brazil it was number 6 as a volume, something like this.
In terms of volume, I would say.
Yes, exactly. So we were discussing now Argentina and Venezuela, where obviously crypto is super popular. In Mexico as well. So do you think that in this crypto environment, friendly crypto environment, we can see or we can expect in LatAm to see a new companies, innovations, some other services which we can take from the rest of the world, from LatAm, because of all this a really good environment here.
It's a really good question. I think the best way to look at LatAm right now, when in terms of regulation, leave El Salvador aside because they did their thing and it's amazing. Was very, very brave. I think the best way to look at regulation, from my standpoint at least, is look at the biggest players out there right now. The European banks, the European governments, USDC in America, right? North America. You have a president in the USA who is very crypto friendly, and a lot of big players in the industry are getting along well with governments now. I think when North America truly adopts it, I think LatAm is just a matter of days. So I think LatAm follows a few footsteps of what we see in Europe happening right now, or happening in USDC in North America. So I'm not worried. It's just a matter of time at this point.
Yeah, in terms of innovation, I think we have some good factors and bad factors that actually can push innovation. And what I mean bad factors is that we sort of have like the perfect storm of
The
weak
good, the
fiat-
bad, and the blockchain,
Yeah. And what I mean is we have like this perfect storm of weak fiat currencies, economic instability. And we talk about underbanked population. So those factors really push innovation in a way because people need to find a way. And then, of course, we have the good. I think we all know the Latin American creativity and innovation in other markets. So I think those two sides can really push innovation in this sector. The need, because we like again we come back to Argentina and Venezuela. There's a need to do it because all the economic factors and so on. But also this creativity that we all know from Latin American population. Like we try to do things better in our way, and I think those two sides will help.
Eloisa, can you?
Just I want to add something about the new business models. I think for me, it's the stable coins are very interesting, but I think the tokenization models it's very a big market because for example the last weekend all markets we are seeing many volatility in the markets, and in the weekend you cannot operate with the stock exchanges, but in crypto world you can operate, and for this reason I think the tokenization is very important in the crypto industry. So in Latin America it's very interesting because you can do crowdfunding models with the tokens and digital assets, and again stable coins are important. Regulation, we need more regulation. In Mexico, for example, we don't have Alvaro said we don't just we have a fintech law. In El Salvador is very interesting because we have a digital asset law, and we can do these models. But again, I think we need more standards in Latin America, and that's it. I think.
Thank you. And in the wealth management, do you think that we can see some innovation?
Yes, of course. I mean, just like Alvaro said, so in Latin America, there's a unique mix of some factors that actually helps that it's going to be really innovative. So you have, as he said, the need, there's the need, there's the talent. If I'm not mistaken, there's a really big community of developers that it's growing, mainly in Brazil, also in Mexico, and I think Colombia, if I'm not mistaken, that due to our due to our imaginative thinking of Latin America, there's a lot of talent there and the momentum. So Latin America, it's in a very good state where innovation can't grow, right? So also because nowadays in the world we're living where there's the establishment of a new economic model, and crypto is going to play a really big part. And Latin America, is, if they take the momentum and the other two factors, the need and the talent, it could really innovate really good.
Thank you. Now we have almost 5 minutes, a little bit more, but anyway. So each of you, around 1 minute, how you can see the crypto in LatAm in the next 5 years.
Okay, so just getting the title, I'll start saying we didn't mention much about the bad, and I think bad
Because we are positive people.
Yeah,
That's right.
bad that I wanted to avoid is such what happened in Argentina with this altcoin that was launched. It was unsustainable. Maybe many people lost money. So I think this must stop. That's the angle on the bad. On the trend of the next, let's say 5 years, I see we're still scratching the surface on crypto. I see crypto as a pyramid, where basis of the pyramid are, for me, the stable coins. That stable coins are needed, are the rails for us for doing anything on the crypto world. That's how we bridge from traditional world to digital world. Then next will come the RWAs. So this is very important discussion, but it cannot help. It cannot happen without having stable, solid stable coins, accessible stable coins. So RWAs are giants. Real estate RWAs, financial RWAs, anything RWAs. Anything can be tokenized and can have a value. And after we will have a more mature state, we reach a more mature state on RWAs, then for me the top of the pyramid would be DeFi, because we're gonna have these RWAs. We will be able to use them as a collateral on operation or on financial operation for borrowing money, for getting finance, for making an FX, a remittance. So DeFi for me will be the final and most advanced level that we should reach in maybe in next 5 years.
Thank you. Rodrigo?
So yes, the picture in for the next 5 years for Latin America, I think it's a really good one. Just as Rafael said, and it's what we. It will be a really good one if mainly there's education in the population, right? Both the government and people, normal people, right? So for it to be really good in the next 5 years, I think the main topic to attack it's education, to know how crypto works, and as Rafael said, so that eventually we get to the top of the pyramid. It's DeFi.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Alvaro?
Yeah, I'll add what they both said, like education, stable coins. Yeah, they're the cornerstones. But I'd like to add into regulatory clarity. For me, that's something we need to work on, because somehow the lack of it has helped us in a way. Like I mentioned, Bitsa has been operating for many years. The government has never said, okay, it's illegal, but it's not legal. It's on like a gray area. But I think that's help us into a certain point. But if we want to keep growing further into 5 years, we do need some clarity from local governments. Like Brazil is taking the starting, and then we can see some like positive cases spread into LatAm, like Argentina, Venezuela, into other countries. But yeah, for me, we will need some clarity in that part.
No, make totally sense, because when you know the rules of the game, you can play really well. So make a lot of sense. Eloisa, you?
Yeah, just I want to say, because the time is over, and I want to say
Don't worry, we have 1 minute more.
tokenization will be of the stock market's evolution. Just I believe in 5 years. I think so.
It's a good prediction.
I'm gonna summarize most of the things that's been said here because I urgently support them. The next 5 years to me, and I think to my team as well, is going to be focused on clarity on regulation. It's going to take us, to some standard that we need to follow, most of the companies here. And I think the next 5 years will be also mainly focused on the innovative part and the adoption. So I agree where real estate will be adopted sometime along the way and more physical value can be tokenized. I think that's something in the 5 years time we'll see more of. So that and regulatory clarity, I think, would be the best. And obviously the bread and the butter would be DeFi, but I think it's too early to attack that already.
Guys, thank you very much. It was really pleasure. Super interesting, hopefully for the audience as well. There will be no time for questions, but I encourage everybody, if you want, we are here, so we can discuss here around to allow the other guys to come here. So thank you very much for everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks so much.